Good morning, Jeff Surber, Operations Section Chief with Great Basin Team 1 on the Dixie Fire with the morning update for Monday, August 30th. We'll start over here in our XXWW divisions towards the tail end of the fire. We still are patrolling out around Bucks Lake in the wilderness, but there's very little heat left out in here, but we do have a division supervisor with a small complement of resources that continues to hike into the wilderness area and deal with a few smokes in there, as well as respond to calls from concerned folks who see smoke near the line, and we'll send engines over there and put those kinds of things out. So we have a presence all the way along our entire zone on the fire. Even though this has been a long time since this burned, probably up to a month or more ago, we still patrol that every day. Moving on around into the area around closer to the Taylorsville area, you can see that for the past several days, all of this area is considered contained line, but we still do have patrols all along the edge of the fire. Taylorsville right here is under threat from a spot that was able to get more of what we call a slop over rather than a spot. It slopped over a ridge top and moved down into an avalanche chute where it's very difficult and dangerous to send firefighters down into that to try to put a line all the way around that in that kind of terrain when wind could come up and trap them, and those kinds of things can happen. So instead of doing that, what we've done is construct dozer line here above Taylorsville, with the expectation that over time this will move and it'll align to a point where we're ready to burn this to protect the community of Taylorsville. We do have a unmanned aerial, I can't remember what the S stands for, a UAS. It's a drone that drops what we call ping pong balls, which are incendiary devices that are very small. We plan to burn this in the nighttime in the coming days when we have access to that equipment, and when the time is right and the winds are right, we plan to go ahead and burn that in a controlled method to tie off and protect Taylorsville. But for today, what we plan to do with this slop is what we've done for the last, probably we and the team before us have done for at least a week or more, and that is use water from the water source down here by the mobile retardant base, and it's a very short flight time for Type 1, the heavy helicopters, to go back and forth to that and keep dumping water on it and just hold it in check. It looked great last night. At the end of shift last night, it was not moving. It's not going to go away. We fully expect that it's going to continue to be a problem area for us, but right now it's held in check. Moving on down, there's a lot of interest in here last night. Our incident meteorologist told us that we would have good burning conditions all night, as far as both for our burning and for the main fire's burning. So you could probably see that last night for a lot of the folks that live nearby. You saw a healthy glow all night and a good column of smoke. The smoke did not settle in like it did on prior nights. It had a column development all night long. So anybody that was up in the middle of the night or early in the morning saw that column, saw the glow. Most of that glow came from a burnout operation that we were conducting on the ridgetop. What happened yesterday, this fire spotted over this dozer line right here. We, at about 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon, started a firing operation coming down this dozer line in order to stay even with the fire so that it wouldn't come down and be able to cross our dozer line and head towards Greenhorn and those other communities on on Highway 70. So what we did is started burning about 2 o'clock, carried that along, stayed with the fire all afternoon and into the evening, and they held it up on Immigrant Creek this morning. They're down in that Immigrant Creek area trying to assess continuing on across that. You won't see it on where I'm pointing, but that we have dozer line that's constructed out here towards Lake Davis. So we will continue to burn off this line, trying to protect the communities of Greenhorn, Kronberg, and Portola. The main intent is, again, like I've said before, to connect this whole area from where the fire is now, which is where we held it up last night, over here to Davis, and tie off this piece of ground with fire to the north and green to the south, pretty much protecting those communities. So that'll continue on today. You'll see smoke. We're going to have a lot of aircraft in the air. I've already talked to our air operations folks, and this will be the first day in a long time that we had clear air. You actually could see the sun come up and you could see the fire column. All the other mornings, as you know, if you live around here, it's been socked in, smoky. It wasn't that way last night. The smoke dispersed and left. So basically, we're trying to get the aircraft in the air as fast as we can. We'll be using fixed wing retardant, heavy air tankers to support this line as the crews continue to burn out to the east. We'll be using the heavy helicopters over here. So for aircraft today, we're going to be using helicopters in one area, which is for safety purposes. Works out really well if you have helicopters working in one area. Heavy air tankers, fixed wing air tankers working in another, they don't conflict in their airspace. So this is working well for us. We're going to continue to do that today. Moving over to Division Quebec, we have a line being built from the old Walker Fire down to Davis Lake to try to block this off. We also have 3 or 5 other contingency lines all the way out to Milford. In the event this fire continues to move the way it has been, it's been moving a mile, mile and a half, maybe up to 2 miles a day. We expect it to move at least that far today with the southwest winds we're expecting. So we're out here far enough in advance that if it overtakes a line like it did this one, we saw this coming and we were already out here on the next one. So that's pretty much what we're doing. We are all the way out here. We're out here predicting that this is going to continue to march this way, and we have to be out in front of it far enough to take away the fuel with a burnout operation so that we can finally stop the fire, and that's what we intend to do out here to the east. Other than that, this area up here around Milford burned several weeks ago, and it's being handled by the West Zone. So anything that's going on over there towards 395 makes a lot more sense. It's much more efficient to have them cover that ground because they come out of Susanville. It takes a lot longer to get around from Quincy. So they're managing that part. The other area of concern that you might see on the map that's red is right here. It ran into the old Walker fire. This fire ran into Walker, and it's not traveling through that fire with any speed, so we don't expect that to be a problem. The reason we don't turn that black on the map is because nobody's actually walked out there and confirmed that there's no issue with it continuing to move. So that usually happens with a weather event, or as winter approaches, we'll kind of say, okay, there's such a small probability of that fire ever moving that it'll be considered contained. And that's it for today.